believe it or not, it does happen that people just pick numbers. I got called one time. I had a student of mine come through two of my classes. Came through two separate classes I had years and years ago. And he called me up on the phone. He said, hey, listen, Will, we need you to come down here. They're a company in Massachusetts. I trained all of the Microsoft people for them. And he said, we need you to come down here like pretty quickly. And I had just gotten off the road. I said, no, you know what? I just got off the road from 6 weeks on the road. Exhausted. I really don't want to worry about coming down there right now. And he said, Will, you can name your price. Wow, never had anybody tell me that actually on the phone. So at the time, I was building a brand new walkway around my house. I have a log cabin. I was building a concrete walkway, and it was 10 grand. So I figured, okay, $10,000. I figured it would take me about 40 hours. This is what I want per hour. And I called them back, and I said, this is what I want. And they said, you got it. And the first thing I thought to myself is, damn, I should have asked for more money. It was that quick. When I got down there, I realized why. They were using 128 like 19. And I looked and I said, wow, you guys are a jail. They were a city. I said, you guys are a jail and a small city and you own a Class B? The guy said, no, we don't. And that's why they were willing to pay anything. When they went through the class and they went back, somebody just said, you know what? I wonder what we're using. Looked it up and realized that the person who set up the entire network literally just pulled the number out of thin air. Now, here's the thing. If you have a good VPN, if you have a good setup, you may never affect anybody. Because what happens with most of us is we have a device between our network and the internet. And that device is usually referred to as a NAT or a proxy. One or the other, not both. A NAT, Network Address Translation. What that means is if I'm using 10 inside my internal company, when I hit that box to get to the internet, the NAT box strips off the bad IP address, gives me one of the good IP addresses that I got from my ISP, and then I go out and do my surfing on the internet. Proxy kind of does the same thing. The only difference between these two is a NAT box, the user goes out onto the internet. On a proxy box, the proxy is the only thing that actually goes out on the internet. Whenever you ask for a page and you have a proxy server, the proxy box goes out, gets that page, and then shoots it back to you. So believe it or not, NAT boxes are much better because NAT boxes allow the users to go out and actually hit the internet. Originally, proxies were, everybody had a proxy. 20 years ago, that was it. You either had direct access to the internet, which was very common, which means everybody in the company owned a real IP address and anyone could just go out and surf the net because everybody had real addresses. Or you owned a proxy. The problem with proxy servers is they're slower because the proxy is the one that has to go out and do all of the work. The users actually don't go out on the internet. So NAT boxes started taking over because NAT boxes allow you to go out on the internet. Now, NAT boxes are extremely quick. You're talking milliseconds. At my last company, we had 250 employees, and we had 4 numbers on our NAT. One of them we used for internal traffic, like meaning people are coming into the company. One of them we used for the FTP. The other 2 was what we actually used so people could go out on the internet. Out of 250 people, we used to stream music. You never knew that 2 IP addresses were handling the entire company. It happens so fast. So, Why can't you use a real IP address internally, like what they did? 128.16, for example. Well, there's multiple reasons. One, it's actually illegal. The internet has rules governed by the internet. If your company is found to be using a real IP address internally, you can be fined hundreds of thousands of dollars. It's against the rules. Two, years ago, people owned real addresses and could directly go to the internet. Here's the problem. If I'm using a real IP address in my company and my NAT box goes down, every single person in the company can now access the internet because every one of these numbers are real internet addresses. So yes, if you're trying to make it so it's only visible internally, that's fine. But if that NAT box ever goes down and people start jumping on the internet because they know what they're doing and they get to the internet without the NAT box, you are in trouble. You can't do it. And here's the reason why. Why would you do it anyway? Everyone here can use a free Class A, a free Class B, and a free Class C. So why would you steal somebody's address? Okay? So it's very important to understand what you're doing. Now, on a Class A address, there's two parts of every address, X and Y. X is the network ID. Y is the host ID. Okay? X is the network ID. Y is the host ID. Now, with every IP address, there are parts of every address that are part of the network setup and part of the host setup. For example, on a Class A, the first octet is assigned to you. You get to manipulate the last three. So if I choose 10, for example, I get 10.0.0.0, 10.0.0.1, 10.0.0.2, 10.0.0.3, 10.0.0.4, 10.0.0.5, all the way until I get to 10.0.0.255. 10.0.1.1, 10.0.1.2, 10.0.1.3. So basically, you get from 10.0.0 all the way through 10.255, 255, 255. Now, the problem here is not all of these are usable. Whenever you have a range of addresses, you always lose two. The first address you lose because that's always the network ID for the entire company. 10.0.0.0 is the actual range ID for the entire company. So you can never use the first octet. So you have to start at 1. You can never use the very last number, 255, because that represents the local broadcast. So usable is 10.0.0.1 through 10.255, 255, 254. Now, I can use 10.0.0.255, 10.0.1.255, 10.0.2.255, 10.0.3.255. Those are all legal. It's only the very last 255 you can't use. So you always minus 2. So, if you sat down and wrote out every single number between 10.0.0.1 and 10.255, 255, 254, you would come up with 16,777,214 combinations. So what I want you to do is take a piece of paper and go ahead and write them out. I'm just kidding. Come on. All right. Class B. On a Class B, the first two are assigned. You get to use the last two. So, for example, 131.107. Because you only get 2 octets to manipulate, that's why you only get 65,534. And on a Class C, the first 3 octets are assigned, and you only get to manipulate the last octet. And that's why you get 254 usable.